Buffy the Vampire Slayer stories. The Department of Education is ending its support for LGBTQ students. But first, the economy. So the AP has a story out earlier today. Headline: U.S. inflation got worse with rising groceries and gasoline prices. Saying that inflation accelerated in January as the cost of groceries, gasoline, and rents rose. And maybe all of you know this who are listening right here. And the question is, how do we start to convince people that MAGA is not good for the economy? And that was something that obviously all of us heard over and over and over again, that MAGA and Trump are better for the economy, and that's why we're going to vote for him. And he promised, he promised on day one that he was going to lower gas prices, that he was going to lower grocery prices, that rents were going to come down, that all of our checking accounts, all the money in there was just going to go up, 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 and up, up. Well, what policies has he actually done and implemented in his first month to do that? FDR inherited the Great Depression, and, he had lots of ideas. That's actually where we got the idea of the concept rather, of the first 100 days, because FDR came in with so many ideas and so many policies and so many programs to get us out of a depression. And what have we had on the economy here from Trump? Tariffs that they keep having to roll back because they're realizing that they're going to tank the economy, or at least tank the stock market. There was a very interesting reporting when he tried to roll out the tariffs a couple Saturdays ago against Mexico and Canada, that the reason why it happened on the weekend was because they were trying to get the markets in a better place so that the markets wouldn't tank when the tariffs were announced. So they thought that they could sort of roll it out and then talk to a bunch of people and keep the stock prices from going down. And they sort of were achieving that on Monday, and then it wasn't going anywhere. And then suddenly all those tariffs against Mexico and Canada were quote unquote paused. But now we have actual hard data that in the first month of 2025 and of his presidency, that inflation went up, grocery prices went up, rent went up, gasoline prices went up. And I just don't know. When he says, and we talked about this yesterday with I'm blanking on his name, from Occupy Democrats, David Reddish. We were talking about how it was such a weird election in which people were voting for a candidate and didn't think he was actually going to implement the things that he said that he was running on. And here we are again, where, it's like, oh, well, it was all talk. He said on day one, but he didn't really mean on day one that he was going to do anything to actually bring down grocery prices, that he was going to do anything to actually bring down gasoline prices. Well, then why was he saying it? Where are his plans to help the economy? It's just so frustrating that folks on the center left and the left are the only ones who actually take him seriously and take him at his word. Like, why is it only us that are doing that? Don't understand. But there it is. Actual hard data that the economy inflation went up in January. So obviously this is not going to get any better, because we've seen this, how this all plays out before. It's not even a playbook. I mean, we literally have seen what tariffs do to the economy. We've seen what happens when regulations are pulled back and capitalism is allowed to just do whatever it wants. We've seen this story multiple times in U.S. history, and it never ends well for the folks who are trying to implement it. So, yeah, there we go. There we go with that. The Department of Education has rolled back their, let me get my notes up here. The Department of Education is ending its support for LGBTQ students. last Friday. So this is reporting from Christopher Kane in the Washington Blade. We were hoping that Christopher was going to join us today, but he's a White House correspondent for the Blade, and he's actually at the White House today. So we can't. He won't be joining us, but we will have him back here next Wednesday to talk about his reporting. But he had an article out about a email that went to staff at the U.S. Department of Education. And it said that they are going to end programs, contracts, policies, outward-facing media, regulations, and internal practices that, and they're going to cut them where they fail to affirm the reality of biological sex. I don't. There's something that's happening here where the media, and I don't want to necessarily call out Christopher about this. I'd actually like to ask Christopher, and we will next Wednesday, about how folks, journalists and editors are reporting this idea of gender ideology, and the gender ideology that he is putting on us is complete bunk, easily disprovable. And yet I want to see more of that from journalists. I want to see more of that from editors because it's just being put out there as if it's an equally valid alternative viewpoint. And, lies are not an alternative viewpoint. I mean, it's technically, if you're going to be like that. But along with the external facing work at the agency, the directive targets employee programs such as LGBTQ resource groups. And this is in keeping with the rollback of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion within the federal government. It is the issue that we're seeing here is like all other agencies, they are removing web pages that have support for LGBTQ students. They are going to start pulling funding, and we've seen the issue with this with hospitals and healthcare, where health systems have already begun removing and ending their programs for gender affirming care for persons under 19 years old. This is the fear that we have, that they will start to pull funding for schools unless they comply with this anti-LGBTQ nonsense. Tomorrow, is it Wednesday? Is it only Wednesday? Tomorrow, the Senate is going to be hearing Linda McMahon, the nominee for Education Secretary. That's going to be fun. Obviously, already criticized by LGBTQ advocacy groups. GLAAD has reported that McMahon helped launch and currently chairs the board of a conservative think tank that has campaigned against policies supporting transgender rights in education. Fun fact, NBC News was reporting yesterday that Trump plans to issue an executive order that abolishes the education department altogether. But that would require an act of Congress. But with Elon Musk just firing but trying to buy out all staff, federal employees, that's a de facto way of abolishing a federal agency. Just get rid of all of your staff members. Here's the thing. I think that the overwhelming majority of queer people understand, I mean, the 86% who voted for Harris Walls, that you cannot talk about queerness without talking about gender identity. It's literally just not possible when the LGB of the acronym, so lesbian, gay, bisexual folks, are talking about who they are attracted to, who they want to have as their partners. We're talking about gender identity. So I hope that we recognize that, because there is this idea that they can, split us up. I think that there are calls that we could just do LGB without the T. I saw that nonsense on social media last year. I know that there have been leaders in the Twin Cities who said they've had way too many conversations within the community about, why don't we just, split off gender identity from LGB and just have two different, groups. which is just absolute nonsense. Like, you cannot separate the two of them. So here we are with and this is going to have drastic effects here, because if they start pulling funding from local school systems, then gender neutral bathrooms are gone, books on bookshelves are gone, gay straight alliances are gone, courses, so social studies courses, history courses, political science courses, those could be gone as well. And, like we saw in Florida, you can't even put up a rainbow flag or rainbow sticker, or this, I'm an ally. A teacher can't put like that stuff on their desks or in their classrooms. It is, yeah. And I wish that, we could find ways of resisting this. And there's something that I think that we're all trying to figure out, the resistance to this. Curious about your ideas. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205, specifically how agencies can resist what's going on here in all of this anti-LGBTQ Project 2025 implementation. We are going to take a break. We're going to have more on the flip side. We're going to be talking about something that's just so disappointing. I'm really bummed out about this, about the first trans actress to ever be nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars, and this has just turned into a complete disaster. You're listening to The Gailey Show. If you go to shoprainbowrd.com, you will find an amazing variety of adult novelties, literally thousands of items that you can peruse in the privacy of your home and have shipped to your door. Plus, in the store, you can find swimwear, casual wear, underwear, everywhere. Rainbow Road is located at 109 West Grand Street near Loring Park. Gift cards are available for the hard to shop for. Go to shoprainbowrd.com.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Hello, I'm Todd Mickelson, host of a Satellite View podcast. It's hard to find clarity or focus here on the ground with the fire hose of issues and events. We go up high and look back on Earth from a satellite view, where we can gain our bearings and learn from the past to shoot for a better future. And have fun and laughs along the way. Go to am950radio.com, click the programs link, and find a Satellite View with Todd Mickelson.
This is Chad, owner of AM950 for Snap Construction again. Does your home feel colder than it should with the furnace constantly running? Or do certain rooms always feel colder than the rest of the house? Those are signs the attic in your home may need an insulation upgrade. Snap Construction can help by providing a free energy audit for your home's insulation. The average cost of getting new insulation can cost much less than a new furnace. Plus, Snap Construction is a BPI certified installer. That means if you use Snap for your next insulation project, you qualify for up to $650 in total rebates from your energy provider. After my free inspection, my insulation upgrade was completed within a few weeks and the rebate check was in the mail. Snap to it and reduce your heating bill this winter with Snap Construction. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP for your free energy audit when you mention AM 950. Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation company in the metro.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I'm your host, JP Derbogosian. Our call-in number, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We were talking about the inflation. The economy is going the wrong way, despite promises that he was going to fix it on day one. And we also have the Department of Education rolling back their support for LGBTQ people.
But we know that he never could affect prices like that. And the only people who voted for him thinking he could are ignorant people who didn't know how the economy works.
Yeah, no, that's not. That's when you are a presidential candidate and you say that you have a plan and that you alone can bring down. Now, Kamala, she had a plan that she wanted to implement. But he said, I have a plan. I'm Mr. Businessman. I'm the greatest one for the economy. Well, it's almost been a month now. You said day one. Where are the policies?
That's a lot. That's lie number 10,500. And
not the point. We need to start taking him at it. Nobody takes him at his word.
Well, yes.
It's just, oh, well, he just says things. Well, you can't just say things anymore. There needs to be accountability. If you said that you were going to you were going to lower prices, then it's time to put up or shut up.
I would vote for shut up, but I know what you're saying. It's the ignorance of people who would go, oh, well, I guess he's going to bring our prices down. But that's a false assumption from the beginning. So I think you're right. We need to keep saying it. If you watch how he reacts to that question, he doesn't have an answer because he was lying from the beginning, and he's still lying.
But that's what I'm talking about, and particularly from corporate media. You know, if when Biden said that he was going to bring down inflation and he passed the big Inflation Reduction Act, and it wasn't bringing down inflation because, hello, it was a big, massive piece of legislation that was still going to take years for it to start to see the benefits of it, but it did have some macro level short-term things to try to bring down inflation. They pilloried him. Everybody, even on the left, was saying, oh, the inflation isn't coming down and the inflation isn't coming. Look how this is a huge liability for him. Okay, well, Trump says that he's going to bring down inflation, but doesn't, and nobody talks about it being a liability. So I don't understand why we are letting him off the hook. Why is it always that he's just saying things? He doesn't really mean it. That's just something you say that you're going to bring down prices on day one. You actually, it takes some time to put together. Why does he get that leeway?
We're not giving him that leeway. I can't speak for others, but I've never given him that leeway, and I don't think any of us should either. And I think we should do what you're doing, which is call him out on it, call them out on it, call anybody else you can out on it, your relative or your neighbor or your coworker out on it, because there's truth and there's lying. And I guess we're trying to be the party of a little more truth if we can be, right?
Yeah. I mean, trying.
Now, the thing about it, Department of Education that frightens me a little bit is that they do have some influence and control about that. And all we can do is try to lift people up as we try to do, and say, if you don't get support at school, then you're going to have to get support someplace else. And all we can do as individuals is try to give that support, because I think that's a very frightening situation. We can't put a rainbow sticker up. That's how insane these people are, that they would literally say that little bit of positivity in someone's life, we can't give them that because we're that dark of human beings. But
and that's what's happening in Florida. That the Don't Say Gay bill.
It's happening.
That became the Don't Say Gay law.
It's happening in suburban Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's a school district there that does not, Wanakee, I think, that doesn't allow the teachers to put a rainbow flag up in their room because they're not. That's an inhuman response. And so we have to call it that. We have to say, shame on you, whether you're in Florida or in suburban Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Knocking people down is what bad people do. Lifting people up is what good people do. And we just have to those are the basics of good human behavior, right? We have to keep modeling good human behavior, encouraging good human behavior, and calling the people that don't seem to know how to behave like good humans what they are. I don't know what to do in a more macro way than that, except model good behavior, reward it when it's good, and criticize it when it's bad.
I just want like stickers that say, you said prices were coming down, and it just guerrilla style go around to grocery stores and just start slapping them down on egg prices and, and on gas pumps and just throw it back in people's faces. Like, you promised prices were going to come down, and instead they're going up already.
Right.
If you were the amazing businessman, then why isn't industry responding to that and going, yeah, okay, we're gonna bring down prices now, because he's going to, if we don't do that, then he's gonna come after us.
Because he's a failure as a businessman, and he's a failure as a president, and he has been consistently. He doesn't understand how the economy works. I don't know.
That's the maddening thing.
I don't know how to tell you how many billionaires don't actually understand how the economy works.
That is the maddening thing. Is the idea that, and it's getting back to this gender ideology thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is it being? He's saying, and these executive orders, and corporate media and a lot of others are just reporting it as he's saying it.
Right.
We don't want schools enforcing gender ideology. Well, then I need another sentence there saying everything that he's saying is bunk.
Right.
The idea of categorizing gender by cell sizes at conception is such complete bleep, 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 bleep. I can't say it because of the FCC.
Right. Well, we just have to aspire to be better, because this is probably the worst our country's been in modern times, with the worst leader we've had in modern times, and now we have to try to.
That's not, unfortunately, that's not true. We've had some much darker,
out of the muck,
much clearly, like the first 100 years of this country, where we had, an enslaved population, and we were committing genocide.
That's why I said modern times, because I was
modern times,
post World War II. In my
modern
opinion.
times, yeah, when we have neo-fascists in the government.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I do wanna, just because it depresses me to no end. Carla Sofia Gascon, the star of the Netflix film Amelia Perez, has been dropped by Netflix because of her past tweets on Twitter, apparently known as X. And it is just so depressing.
Well, this is self-inflicted, right? I mean, this is somebody who, I don't know how you prove the veracity. She hasn't denied the veracity of the tweets.
Well, I mean, the same nonsense of they're taking out of context and, blah, blah, blah. But when I see one on here where she's denigrating her co-star, Selena Gomez, even though she had previously, like a few months earlier, said, I'm going to be in a movie with Selena Gomez. And then a few months later is tweeting these derogatory terms about Selena Gomez. It's like, what are you doing? I'm going to take a break. I'm going to fit in a break here. Please tell our sponsors that you heard about them here on The Gailey Show on AM 950 Radio, because they make progressive news in Minnesota possible. Stay tuned.
This is Santita Jackson, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I couldn't be more excited about starting our days together, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central, on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
At Queermunity, savor our seasonal menus from our chef, June Day, a James Beard Awards semifinalist. We feature locally sourced foods grown and produced by queer and BIPOC farmers. A full-service cafe offering your favorite cold brew coffees, hot teas, cider spritzes, and our very own house-made chai lattes. Start your day with our smoked bacon and egg breakfast sandwiches served on a biscuit with chipotle mayo and cheddar cheese. Vegan? Try our vegan sausage, egg, and cheese. For lunch, pair our seasonal salads and soups with a caprese panini served on Rose Street baguettes. Try one of our chickpea salad sandwiches, or enjoy the comfort of our grilled cheese with mouth-watering provolone, cheddar, and Gruyere melting on Rose Street breads. We serve sweet and savory pastries, and check out our new bar menu featuring local beer, wine, and custom double hard seltzers. Mention AM 950 at the cafe register for a free beverage with entree purchase. The Queermunity Cafe is open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. More info at queermunitymn.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our local leaders. How do you reward your employees? How do you appreciate your business partners? Thousands of local organizations just like yours count on Minuteman Uptown for promotional products. We craft custom awards and plaques. We print your logo on apparel, office supplies, and thousands of other items. Minuteman Uptown helps you reward employees and stay top of mind with customers and vendors. We print everything. Contact us today at mpuptown.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shambot Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shambot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Snow possible today with a high of 8, then tonight clearing with a low of 10 below. Show your love this Valentine's Day with a gift from an AM 950 advertiser. Whether it's a romantic dinner or a unique local shop, you're sure to find something perfect. Don't forget that many even offer gift cards. Support local businesses and AM 950 this Valentine's Day. Find a list of our advertisers at am950radio.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Broadcasting live from those studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and streaming live right now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TheGailey Show. Welcome to The Gailey Show. I'm your host, JP Dabragosian. It is 33 minutes past the hour. We were talking briefly before the break, and the reason why, I know Chip doesn't want to talk about this story anymore, the reason why the controversy around Carla Sofia Gascon is so depressing to me is that the Oscars might as well just be called the heterosexual Oscars. They don't give awards to out queer actors. It is particular. I mean, in the actor front, the last year was the first time an out actor had ever been nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars in the entire 21st century. Before that, the one before the last actor to have done so was Sir Ian McKellen in 1998. So it's this weird, we talk about liberal Hollywood and gay-friendly Hollywood, but at the Oscars, it really isn't, especially for actors. And when there are films like directors and yes, we've had some queer screenwriters who've had some successes, some notable ones, particularly the screenwriter Dustin Lance Black.
Yeah.
But it has just been so depressing year after year to watch queer people passed over for either nominations. Like, I will never forgive them for not giving any nominations to All of Us Strangers last year, one of the most gorgeous and crucial, necessary films, queer films in the past decade. And will be in the Pantheon. We gave it the Pantheon Award at the Gailey Shows last December, the Gailey Show Awards, because it is phenomenal. But they didn't give it any single nominations. Now, this year, Colman Domingo has gotten 2 back-to-back nominations for Best Actor. But when you look at the reporting, it's like he's not going to win, supposedly. But we got to get Colman Domingo for Sing Sing to win this year. But it is just so depressing to me that we finally see that representation, and then it's just.
But there's nothing to be blamed with. That's, one possibility, because this is very intense campaigning, is that somebody, one of her competitors, people that work, there's teams that do work on these Oscars, that somebody found these tweets and are getting them out there in order to discredit her. I don't know. I don't know whether that was done or not, but
and in our review of the movie, we were also like, the film is problematic. It's got things you're just like, oh boy.
Yes.
but for me, I was like, I wanted to support
Me too. I was proud
a
of her performance.
trans actress and the
Yes.
performance
Yes.
and
Yes.
the work that was happening in there. And then you just find out afterwards that there was AI that was used to manipulate her voice to give it more range. And then you're finding out all of these horrible things, including, calling your coworker a rat, a co-star, knowing that you're going to be starring with them in the movie. It's like,
I don't.
anyway.
I don't. I think she's the victim of perhaps her own
No, this has been going on
situation.
for years, and it is.
No, but I'm talking about this particular situation. We don't know where this. We assume that the information is right. We don't. I don't know what to say about it. I was proud of her performance too, as you were. I wanted her to win early on in the season, and now that looks unlikely. And I'm not. If these things are all true, it makes her a complicated person. Let's say that, and it's hard to win.
Well,
when
I
that
don't want
kind
to
of
be seen as I don't want to be seen as any type of apology for what she's been writing for years
Right,
now.
right.
It's
She's
on
a
that meta level. I'm crushed
Yes.
that this is the way that nomination is going.
Right.
On that meta level, I just there's no condoning the things that she was writing on.
But a great
Twitter.
performance, nonetheless. AI or anything else notwithstanding, a great performance, and see it for that reason, and know that the person's complicated.
Let's
I
move
guess.
on to the greatest gay news of the
What's that?
entertainment news of the 2025. Nothing will top this.
Okay.
Maybe a Coleman Domingo win at the Oscars, but
Okay.
nothing is going to top the excellent news that Buffy the Vampire Slayer is going to be rebooting. This had been Sarah Michelle Gellar, the star, Buffy Summers, had been saying no for years, decades actually at this point, to any type of a reboot. There was a sequel that was in the works, but it didn't get any traction and didn't really go anywhere. And Sarah Michelle Gellar went on Instagram and said that recent work that she'd been doing that was part of continuations of franchises made her think, oh, maybe there is a way of not tarnishing the legacy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I do appreciate her, ardent defense of not wanting to do anything that would, go, oh, wow, what did they do there? But she took a call with Oscar winner Chloe Zhao, director, and was being very polite, said, oh, this is gonna be a 20-minute call. I'll just, talk about, hear Chloe out about, her ideas for what a Buffy reboot could look like. And apparently that 20-minute call turned into a 4-hour marathon where they laughed and they cried, according to a post by Sarah Michelle Gellar. And now we are here. It is officially in the works. Sarah Michelle Gellar will return as the titular character. I want to hear your thoughts about this. 952-946-6205. What is your queer story as it relates to Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Because this series holds a huge iconic status within the queer community, which is why I'm devoting time to this particular story. And also for my own self, as an individual living and loving and trying to survive on this planet. And it also came about, I didn't start rewatching the series because I knew this was happening. I'd already started rewatching the series. And so then this happened and I thought, oh my gosh, like, wow.
I'm asking all of the boomers to just be patient. This is something you have to just put up with. I don't know, have another cup of tea and say yes. Oh, really? Oh,
Okay.
Just indulge it if you don't mind.
Gellar is going to be coming back, reprising her role, also set to executive produce. Oscar winner Chloe Zhao is going to be back directing the pilot, hopefully some additional episodes, but at least the pilot. Book of Shadows production company is going to be that's Chloe Zhao's production company, so they will also be executive producing. Nora and Lila Zuckerman are currently writing the pilot, and it has been picked up by Hulu. They have ordered it.
How many episodes do we know?
I don't know if we know that yet, or at least I haven't come across that. But who do you want to see as in the reprise? Cast members that you want to see come back. I think what was really important to this series in the 90s was that it had the first, well, I don't know if it was the first, but it was one of the first positive depictions of a queer relationship on TV. Now, I don't know if you could consider the WB, was that network television?
Well, it was a mini network. I mean, it was a small network.
Yeah. So it wasn't like the big networks of like, NBC and CBS and Fox and ABC and all of those, but
it was a network.
It was a network.
Yep.
And it had that first depiction. It was Willow and Tara, lesbian relationship, super positive. There was never any, like there was coming out narrative, obviously, but it wasn't like a tragic coming out narrative, and there wasn't any violence, or disparagement stuff because Willow or Tara were gay.
There's plenty of other violence.
I mean, I know it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I mean, there was one of the characters dies, and they broke up the relationship, which was totally unnecessary and one of those unforgivable deaths. There are some series of deaths in there that when you look back on them, both on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, you kind of get the sense of, oh, maybe we should have known about Joss Whedon all along.
Well, here's the challenge I'm wondering about. All the vampires would be the same age, wouldn't they? They don't age, do they? I don't know.
So that raises the question, is Spike going to come back?
Well, if they were alive,
James Marsters, is he going to come back and reprise his role? Is David Boreanaz going to come back and reprise his role? I've heard he's gotten all like conservative-y in his.
Ew.
I don't know that. We'll have to someone fact check me on that.
Ew.
But is he going to come back? How do you justify those the aging in there? I know that Juliet Landau, who played Drusilla, has already said that if asked, she will definitely return to reprise her role. I think that now that you've gotten Sarah, that was obviously the crucial first thing, but how do you have this show without Giles, her watcher, or Willow, or Xander? I don't know how you.
I want to see Danny Strong come back and play a nerd. That would be.
I know, right? That would be amazing. That was
45.
This was the beginning of Danny Strong before he went on to become this, Emmy-winning showrunner for hard-hitting political dramas.
Right.
Was this nerdy little character, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But how do you not have Anthony Head come back and reprise his role as Giles? Now, as I understand it, the only plot thing that we know about is that Buffy will not be the main character in terms of the Slayer, that she will be mentoring a Slayer. Now, I imagine part of that mentorship will mean that she has to do, some type of, killing of vampires. But she did have that role as a mentor in the final season when all of the potential Slayers were being systematically killed off by the big bad of that season. And so she had to gather them all and train them and teach them and show them what it means to be a Slayer and how you get it done and how you don't die. Rule number 1, don't die. So this series for me, we didn't have cable in my household when the series started, but Buffy was the same. Buffy, Xander, and Willow were the same age as me. So they were sophomores in 96. I was a sophomore in 96. They graduated in 99. I graduated in 99.
Good Lord.
And I was in college and started catching the reruns. So it was season 4 reruns on Saturday evenings. I was watching those. And that's when I first was like, oh, what is this series? And I loved it, and then somehow got disconnected from it, and then came onto it again in 2009 when it was on Hulu, and absolutely fell in love with the series. And when I say fell in love, I watched the series. I started with season 2, went all the way through season 7, and then watched season 1, treating it sort of like a prequel because it was a mid-season replacement. And so watched season 1, and then started over with season 2 and went all the way back through, came back around through season 1. Folks, I did that 5 times.
Good heavens to Betsy.
I
Well,
have the collected edition on DVDs for emergency viewing. Maintained the Hulu subscription to have access to it on streaming. It is, and then I found it again this year, and there was something about, like, I kind of felt like maybe I had moved past it emotionally for a while there, and then now that we're dealing with all of this, where we're living on that's the series, is that Buffy is living on a hellmouth and she has to fight the vampires and all of the demons to save the world. And it just feels like, again, we're living on a hellmouth.
we are on a hellmouth. That's exactly right.
And there's just something very emotionally satisfying about this series. And even there's a storyline in season 2 where Buffy comes out to her mom as a slayer, and they use all of the same language around coming out, where her mom's like, well, are you sure about this? And have you tried not being a slayer? And, even the language around it's dangerous wasn't really language around dangerous being a slayer. It was more of like that language that we get as queer kids from our parents around how, you're all going to catch a STD
life.
or you're going to get, HIV and, all of that stuff. Right. Anyhow, we're going to take a break here. More to come on the Gailey Show. Still going to be talking about Buffy a little bit, but also Pope Francis is coming for Trump and JD Vance, and I love it. Stay tuned.
Supporting the best local and independently owned restaurants in the Twin Cities has never been easier. You'll find an expansive list of local dining options at eatlocalminnesota.com, from classic American comfort food to authentic flavors from around the world. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking cuisine, the Great Wall Chinese restaurant has been a local favorite since 1981. They offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and Peking duck. The Great Wall restaurant is located off 45th and France, with takeout available too. More at greatwallrestaurant.us. Nightingale on 26th and Lyndale is the ultimate venue for unforgettable gatherings. Whether big or small, your event will be a hit with delicious food and drinks served in a warm and inviting atmosphere. Plus, Chef Carrie's special creations add that extra touch. Craft cocktails, curated drinks, and a diverse menu make Nightingale perfect for any celebration. More at nightingalempls.com.
Is your remote workforce putting your company at risk? Cyber criminals are targeting your employees with COVID-19 inspired emails and attacking businesses like yours. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. Rymark has the tools and expertise to enable your employees to work securely from home. If you need help getting your staff to work remotely and securely, call 651-328-8900 or go to rymarkit.com. That's 651-328-8900 or rymarkit.com.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
When addiction takes hold, it's easy to feel like no one can help. But you're not in this alone. For 75 years, Hazelden Betty Ford has been at the forefront of addiction and mental health care, evolving treatment, reimagining recovery, and breaking through barriers to help families everywhere find healing. So please reach out at 855-489-2383. Help is here. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation and aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
Welcome back to The Gaily Show. I'm your host, JP Debragosian. I have to say I'm crushed right now that none of my Buffy fans called in to share my joy.
They're probably
I'm
waiting.
crushed.
They're waiting for the word for this to get out, and then they'll start gathering.
I don't.
I
Wow.
think
I see how it is. Okay, fine.
Well,
I'm not going to stop reporting this story.
No,
then.
that's,
so we will be talking. There will be times
yeah.
for you all to be calling in to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
But it is
because
good
This
to
is an iconic show of queer history, and I have a feeling it's going to be again.
It is good escape, isn't it? I mean, we all need a little bit of
Not just
something
escape.
else to
That's the
focus
thing.
on.
It was such an amazing metaphor of what's happening in queer lives for queer kids right
Yes.
now. It was so like seeing your reflection, seeing your life reflected back on TV and how to navigate all of these major issues. It was just amazing. Speaking of amazing, Pink News. I love this headline in Pink News. Pope Francis takes aim at every single absurd theological claim by J.D. Vance in a scathing letter. So J.D. Vance obviously, is an expert about everything.
Yeah. Or nothing.
This guy. So the Pope has written an open letter to U.S. bishops in which he has gone after the immigration policies of the Trump.
Well, that was inadvertent.
That was Trump Vance. The Trump Vance. The Trump Vance. Keep it together.
Just got a bumper sticker out of that.
Trump Vance administration.
Hmm.
And it was here. So Vance used a medieval Catholic concept known as Ordo Amoris, which apparently means the order of love, to justify the deportations and everything else that's going on in these, this immigration policy. And the Pope apparently said in his letter to the U.S. bishops, Christian love is not a concentric expansion of interests that little by little extend to other persons and groups. He said the true Ordo Amoris that must be promoted is that which we discover by meditating constantly on the parable of the Good Samaritan, that is, by meditating on the love that builds a fraternity open to all without exception. Now, I'm not a Catholic. I am not a Christian. If you want really good commentary on the religious perspective, Matt McNeil does a fabulous job of breaking everything down of how this administration, they are not Christians and they do not abide by Christian moral and ethics. And John Fugelsang also has his own podcast on the Stephanie Miller Show and the Sexy Liberal Tour. I mean, also does a absolutely fantastic job of skewering them and pointing out the hypocrisy. But I just love how the letter from the Pope, David Gibson, who is the director of the Center for Religion and Culture at Fordham University, commented on the Pope's letter saying that, quote, it takes aim at every single absurd theological claim by J.D. Vance and his allies and conservative Catholicism and the Catholic electorate, which is absolutely, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. The thing, you and I were talking about this earlier, Jim, before the show, about how, and I don't know how this works, and I guess we have some time left, a few minutes left in the show. So if you are listening and you're Catholic and you can speak to this, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205, can the Pope tell the cardinals and bishops in the U.S., this is the official interpretation and this is the official stance that you need to be taking on these issues, since you are part of the Catholic Church and I am the voice of God here on earth, or not the voice, but I'm the Pope. I'm the ultimate arbiter of what is Catholic faith and tradition.
I worked for a Catholic college for 12 years, and I would say my, I'm not an expert either, but my interpretation is that Pope may very well say that and may very well do that. And then I feel like there's some interpretation of that message, which everybody puts through their own meat grinder, whatever that is, and comes up with, whatever kind of sausage they want to try to justify. So I don't think he has the ability to insist in some absolute way that everyone conform, but I think he's giving guidance, he's giving advice, he's giving fatherly, direction to the flock, and whether the individual other power people within the church probably do exactly whatever they want, I suspect, whatever serves their personal interests is my opinion. So I don't think there's a law that comes down that everybody has to comply with. I think they all know that these people aren't religious. I think they know, if they're educated, they know that already.
Wow.
So they're fomenting something that's false.
I guess we're part of that. I'm wondering is, if the Pope is sending that letter, then what happens next? Like, do all of the bishops and the cardinals and the priests then have to, in their homilies and their sermons, I'm not quite sure, I apologize what the correct term is, but on Sundays, when they're in front of their congregations, do they then have to, either say, this is what the Pope is telling us right now, and I'm going to help you understand it and put it into context? Like, how does that like filter down there? Not that we need the Pope or any other religious leader, like, dictating what our laws should be, because that's going to turn out infamously terrible for queer people.
Right.
But it is this,
But the emphasis, I think, from the Catholic Church has it not been to make sure that people don't have choice or the control over their own bodies. That's been their political bailiwick since, Newt Gingrich brought that up. That's been their kind of the way they put money in their plate. And I think what the Pope is bringing up is, well, there's this other thing that these people are doing that's absolutely anti-Christian. And now how do they justify the fact that they've gotten all onto this boat with this guy that doesn't believe in anything that they do, doesn't believe 1 ounce of it, and yet they have used him, many people have used him to accomplish some other goal. And now what do? They know they've gotten in bed with the devil. That's
Don't know.
The truth.
Don't know.
There's just no way around it.
We'll continue to see. Well, that is our show today. We have 2 really epic episodes for Thinking Clearly, Thinking Queerly tomorrow with Dr. Samuel Klus-Huneke, talking about queer liberation under fascism, Soviet dictatorship, and liberal democracy in Germany. I love this conversation. And then we've got queer poetry for you on Friday. So stay tuned for that. The Matt McNeil Show is up next.
Hey, it's Patrick. February is the month for love.